There we go. Hello. Sandy Ledoux from ledouxdesigns here to hang out with you guys tonight. I hope you're ready for what we have planned. It's going to be fun. Got cool stuff. Ugh, I don't see anyone. Ah, hi Vicki. Hi Barbara. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm not really sure why so much of my desk is showing tonight, but at least you can see all the mess I have on my desk right now. I'm going to go ahead and get started because we have some stuff we have to do tonight that is going to take just a little bit of time. Hi. So if you're coloring along or if you're crafting along, you're going to need 3 pieces of paper for the oxiding that we're going to do with this thing. We're going to use the Mad Hatter tonight. He is from the Tea Time Madness. We're also going to use that cup right there, that teacup or coffee cup, whichever way you want to look at it. You're going to need 3 oxides. I'm using Salty Ocean, Twisted Citron, and Villainous Potion. Going to need an X-Acto knife. If you decide you want to follow what I do, you will need these items. You need a self-healing mat. My little one's not going to be big enough for what we're doing tonight. I have this sheer shimmer stick that we're going to use. Let me move this light so I don't have light right in the middle of my stuff. So we're going to use that a little bit later. I don't need the scissors anymore because I already cut my little guy out. You're going to need the coffee cup like I said earlier. And then, look, I got a new ink pad and it's colored. It's blue. I have a blue one now. Yay! So we're going to use that. So we're going to start with the background because the background is going to need to dry a little bit while we're coloring. So I want to go ahead and start off with the background. So let's get rolling. All right, I'm fixing my lights so you guys can see what's going on. Feeling mysterious tonight. These are the toppers I'm wearing. You see my little skulls. It's gonna match the colors we're using tonight. Gonna need some pop stuff, some markers. We're gonna put our little guy over here for now. We'll color him in a little bit. You want that twilight color too? This is my sticky mat. No, it did not turn purple, although it looks pretty cool like that, huh? It's clear like it always is. I ripped the paper that it was on, so I'm using a purple piece of acrylic to hold it down. So it looks purple, but it's not really purple. It's a little challenging. Okay, I'm going to use this so I don't have to use a lot of the washi tape and tear my paper and all that good stuff. I'm going to actually lay this back on because I forgot we have to do this part first. Okay, so this is going to be a different way to use your stencil. Now, I know we could do this where we just pick up this, do one color, pick up the stencil and rotate it, do another color and rotate it, do another color, and it would give us a really cool background. But my brain was working a little bit overtime when I was thinking about what we were going to do. So we're going to take 2 pieces of paper and we're going to tape them to our self-healing mat. So you will need a self-healing mat. And then we're going to grab a little bit of washi tape, if I can remember what I did. I tried to get all my stuff right here so you guys wouldn't have to wait for me. Now, when you use washi tape, if it's really sticky washi tape, you need to put it on your hand or somewhere before you stick it to your paper, or it will rip your paper. So I'm going to put that down. Hello, Cheryl. And then I'm going to do the same thing with all 4 pieces around here. This is going to be fun. This is different than how we normally use stencils. Those who've been following me for a long time, Cheryl in particular, would probably remember that I like to do all kinds of outside of the box stuff with stencils. So this is one I have not tried. It's a new idea I had, so we'll see if it works. Best thing is it works out great. Worst thing is we end up tossing it and using pattern paper, which we have a lot of really beautiful pattern paper. So if that's the case, well, it is what it is. Okay, so I'm going to start with, let me see which direction I want this to be. I'm just going to try, I want this to be center. So depending on which way I put it, since it's all wavy and stuff, it might be different. So that's about center. I like that. I think I'm good with that. So I'm going to tape that down, and I don't have to put this part on my hand because it's not sticking to the paper. It's just going to stick to the mat. Don't you hate it when your washi tape puts itself away and then you can't get it off? It drives me crazy. All right, here we go. You do remember that, Cheryl? I thought you would. Well, I'm okay tonight, but I have a really bad headache. I'm like on that merge of a migraine. So I'm hoping the distraction of getting to be crafty and stuff is going to make that go away. But we'll see. We'll see. I can do really good at pretending like it doesn't hurt as bad as it does. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is grab a pencil, any pencil, doesn't matter which one, and I'm going to choose which squares I want to mess with. So I'm just gonna randomly pick some squares, and we're gonna pick squares twice. So I don't want to pick a whole bunch in the first shot. So here we go. There is no rhyme or reason to this. I'm just randomly picking them. Maybe about, I don't know, 6 or 8 of them. Great tip with making the washi tape less sticky. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, it's a game changer for sure. Okay. I just want to get a few of them on here. We currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need a couple over here, so I'll do this one. You can do whichever ones that you want. It really doesn't matter which ones they are. It's not going to matter in the end which ones you chose. I'm going to choose this one as well, and then I'm going to stop. So I'm going to lift this up with my washi tape still on it and make sure I'm pretty happy with that. I want to see here if I think I might want one more like about right here. because I felt like it was a little bit open right there. So I'm good with that. Hello, Jana. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to lift up our tape. Not all the way, because you're going to have to put it back down. And this is going to be a lot of eyeballing, but you guys got this. I know you do. I'm going to take this one off. Going to press that back down. And then we're going to put this back on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this under it real quick, just to kind of make sure I get this lined up exactly kind of where it was before. Oops. Just so I know that they're all going in the same direction. I'm going to put this one down, and then I'm going to take this one out. There we go. Now we're ready to do step 2, okay? Step 2 is pick any squares that are not these, okay? So I'm going to leave that sitting beside. And you can tell, you know, this is the one we already used on that one. So we need something somewhere around maybe here. So I'm just going to randomly pick some. I think we did this one already. So maybe we'll do, we did this one and that one. So maybe we'll do this one that's right on the edge. And then over here we did 2 of them. So we did those 2. So we'll pick this one. We did that one. So let's pick this one. And then we did this one. So I'll pick this one down at the bottom. And then over here, we didn't pick too many over here, so I'm going to pick this one. And then maybe, I think we did this one, so maybe we'll pick this one. How about this one? And maybe one more. We'll do this one too. And then that's it. Okay, now, I never would have thought to use the stencil this way. I try to think of different ways because, you know, I want to get the most out of my stencils, you know. So I try to think of different ways other than just using different blending things on it. I want to use the actual stencil design some other way. Okay, so I took the washi tape off because I won't need that anymore. And now I'm going to lift these back up from where they were. And I'm going to place both of them stacked together back on my desk like this. So I'm just going to put them back. This is how they were lined up when we did our first level, which is this one. And then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut those out. And when you use an X-Acto knife, it doesn't mean you have to press really hard. It just means we might have to do it twice, and that's okay. So just a very light, and you don't have to be exact either. I mean, it is an X-Acto knife, but if you're off a little on the line, you don't have to worry about it because it really is going to be okay. I'm not expecting this to be like some kind of perfect puzzle. I just want you to be able to see some of the other, like I want to do each layer a different color, and I want you to be able to see the different colors underneath there, and I think this is the best way to do it. So there's the first layer. Then you just go through it one more time and make sure anywhere that didn't cut will cut until we can pick that piece out of the center. And we will be able to, I know we will, because we're good at this. There we go. Now we just lift this out and we have both of these layers. I missed a spot right here. It's a little bit harder for me because I can't look right over top of my stuff. But I have a little hair piece right here that didn't quite cut right. So I'm going to make sure my whole space is open. So there's a little one there too. And as long as it's not attached, that's good. There's also a little hangy one right there. Each layer will get easier. This is each time you cut, it'll get easier. The first one's always the hardest. It means don't cut your finger off. It does. Don't cut your finger off. Yeah, be careful. Don't put your hands over here. Keep your hands away. And if your blade is really sharp, it should cut really easily. This blade is probably not as sharp as it should be because I use it all the time. But I do have some more just in case this one isn't working so well. So there's one layer. Then I'm going to go back in there. And the second layer, you kind of use the paper from the top as a guide. And your X-Acto knife just kind of slides along. It makes it easier. See, I told you the second one would be easier. And then we're going to do this one over here. And it's just going to go right off the page, which is totally fine. So this is going to be really cool, I think. And we're also going to layer this up on pop dots. So we're going to see each layer kind of have a bit of like an open space. That's going to be pretty cool. Anytime your paper folds up like that, you can just press it with your nail to put it back down. Now, this one, next. I do this all the time. I cut my finger on paper cuts so much more than I have ever cut myself with an X-Acto knife. In fact, I don't remember having done it with an X-Acto knife, but I'm pretty sure I probably have. But I cut myself more with paper cuts than anything else. There's that one. Should come right out of there. So this is pretty neat. This is going to give you a design you don't normally have, and it's going to look so different than what you see everywhere else. So the way I envision it is, I was actually watching, I got some inspiration on this idea from YouTube today. So I was watching YouTube because you guys know my son is getting married, because I've been posting a lot of stuff, and I've been trying to make some of their projects. I had to make their like their welcome sign and things like that. And so I've been looking through, watching projects. How do you color? What's the easiest way to paint little wood blocks? Because we're going to make little wooden hearts into magnets that are engraved like with their names and the wedding date. And I was contemplating painting them, but I don't normally paint, so I was like, what am I supposed to paint with? And I didn't know. I didn't know what to use, so I was watching YouTube, and I saw them I saw somebody do like little wooden covers for a picture frame. And you know how they're framed, but then you have a mat, and then you have another mat. You can see the colors from underneath each mat on the edge of your picture. And I was like, I wonder if I could do that with the stencil. Like, could I open up some of the spaces on the first paper and then more of the spaces on the second paper? And I wonder if that would work. So that is where the inspiration came from. I hope it'll work, but we'll find out. And I almost did this offline, but I was like, oh, you guys are going to want to see how this works, because if you don't see it come to life, it's not going to be as exciting as just hearing, oh, I did that. When you actually see it happen, that's when the awe factor comes in, and I like that awe factor. Oh, that's cool, you know? So when we get to the second layer and we have to cut more of these little openings, it's going to be a lot easier because we only have to do one layer. But the only way to keep these mostly lined up is to cut them at the same time. So that is where we're at. And just have a couple more. Second layer will be faster. Then we'll decorate and we'll be able to see what's going to happen. It'll be fun. And no better character than the Mad Hatter to be in this twisted, crazy world. So that is why I chose that image for us to do tonight, because I thought he's the mad one. Is anybody doing this with me? Don't cut yourself. Keep yourself uncut, safe. Just cutting any extra little pieces that are in the corners that I don't want to miss. I really like this X-Acto knife, by the way. I got it on Amazon. It came in a 3-pack, so I have 2 other ones, but I rarely use that. I usually use this one. But it comes with 3 and they're all color coded. So I always know the yellow one is the one that I use the most. So there we go. We have our top layer done. So I'm going to lift this up. And actually this is not going to be the top layer. This is going to be the second layer. The one underneath is going to be our top layer. And it'll make sense when we get to that point. Come on. There we go. So that's one layer. And I'm going to set that to the side. We're going to tape this one back down and we're going to cut out the remaining pieces. It's kind of hard to envision if you've never seen anything like it before, but I promise you're going to like it when we're done. I know it's got to work out. And the theory behind it's going to work out. A little bit easier on this level. I'm cutting into the washi tape. It's fine. I just put it over too far. There we go. One more side and this one is out. You guys, I'm worried I'm not seeing comments. Are you guys commenting? Or just mesmerizing over the weird things that I do? There's another one. I guess the thicker your paper, the less likely you would have to use pop dots. The slice works the same way, but you can't cut yourself. I'm such a klutz, so it was a game changer. Oh, I've never heard of that. I don't know what the slice is. I'll have to look that up. I don't generally cut myself, but I have cut myself with my scissors before. And sometimes, and I've cut, you know what I cut myself the most with? Or make myself bleed the most with is my tweezers, because they're pointed and they are so sharp. that I tend to hurt myself more with that than anything else. Mesmerized. You're second. Well, I'm glad that you're sticking around to see how this is gonna look, because I'm kind of excited. I think I know it's gonna look good, even though I don't really know because I haven't done this before, but I'm confident, so that's important. And we're almost done. We only have 2 more. There we go. 1 down here. It's going to be a little bit, when we oxide, we're going to have to be careful over here that we don't rip the paper because it's so close to the edge of the paper. So we'll just want to be real cautious with that side of the paper, but it'll be stuck to the sticky mat, so it should be okay. But just in case, we'll be careful. I stabbed myself with the glue pen. Okay, Christina, now you know exactly what I'm talking about. They are pokey little suckers. Always catch my finger on dies I haven't dremelled down yet. Oh, yeah. Jana, I've done that too. That's not fun. That really hurts. I hate when that happens. Of course, lately I've been doing more fussy cutting than die cutting, but, well, with the exception of the wedding stuff that I just die cut a ton of. But I had some help, so that was good. Sometimes your crafty friends can be the best helping you out. All right, now we're going to take this off. And let me show you what this looks like. So I think you'll get somewhat of the idea when we put these 2 together. So here is what's going to happen. So this one now goes on top. Yes, you do cut yourself with the scissors. So see how some of them have white behind them because we didn't cut those out? And then some of them are all the way open. So then we'll have one more sheet that'll go behind. So you'll have 3 layers of colors. And that's what we're going to do now. That's the theory behind it. So I'm going to take that off. Now, the bottom layer, I have myself a blood blister with the magnets for my glass board. They snap together. Oh man, I know exactly what that's like. I've had that happen. One time I had it happen so bad that I had to scream for Dale to come and take them apart because they were stuck together. They pinched this finger and I couldn't get them apart. Oh, it was so bad. And it was painful and my whole hand turned black and blue. It was terrible. So that's why after that, I bought these sticky mats. So I wouldn't have to use the magnets as often, but I do use them sometimes. But now I have 1 of these on my desk, and I have 2 of these, but 1 is on this side and 1 is on that side, and I never pick them up at the same time. So yeah, that can be really, those are some wicked strong, really wicked strong magnets. All right, so I have 3 colors here. You guys can choose your own for yours. I chose Villainous Potion, Twisted Citron, and Salty Ocean, and we're going to do them in that order. Where did I get the big magnet? The pink one? It came from the Glassboard Studios. They now have them twice as big. They're not just the little ones anymore. Now you can get them in different colors, but they're this big, and this is the whole magnet. I stick them to the leg of my, you can hear it. See, I stick them to the leg of my desk, and then I always know where they are. You love the ink pad stand? That's in our shop. Yeah, Dale makes this stuff for me. It's awesome. And then he makes it for you guys too. Okay, we're going to start with Villainous Potion. So I'm going to leave that over here. It also has a grippy on the bottom so that it won't slide around on my desk while I'm working. So see, you can just, I think my camera is touching the desk. And so I don't give you guys earthquake. I'm going to get up and move it real quick. If my stand is actually touching my desk, it will shake the whole camera when I'm doing the oxides. So there we go. That is better. All right, so back we go. The magnet bars, yeah. My suggestion for the magnet bars is get with someone else and order them so that you guys can share the shipping. This layer is going to be all done in purple. This is the whole layer. We're going to do the whole layer in this color. And in order to get it a little bit smooth, I'm going to lay it a couple of layers at a time. So first this one, then the next one, and we'll just keep going until it's the color that I want it to be. Because I don't like to press hard when I'm doing this, so... Sometimes I have darker spots and lighter spots, but we'll get it all in there. When I ordered different magnets, I would share. Like, I would order 2 of the purple or pink or whatever. They didn't have purple at the time. And then I would share with the other person, and we would each have 1 of each color. And just for funsies. So... you can do that if you want, but you don't have to. Mine are both purple now, though. I had to reorder my stuff because, well, I won't get into that, but, yeah. I think I still have 2 of the smaller little peg ones that are like a tealish color that I don't ever use. They're like in my drawer or something. You're right. She would not. She would not. She says I'm a heavy-handed. That's right. You're right. She says I'm a heavy-handed person. And that's because I'll keep going until the color is dark, dark, which is exactly what I'm going to keep doing with this. I really want the color purple, so I'm going to keep layering it. But I don't want to make my arm tired. I'm having a hot flash, you guys. I really hate it when that happens. I get so hot. Do you guys get hot flashes? They're horrible. You feel like you're burning up. This doesn't have to be ultra smooth, though, because you're only going to see part of it through the backing. So what I'm going to do is when I feel like it's pretty good, I'm going to place that other one on top and see if I'm okay or if I need to darken any of the areas. You like dark purple? At a craft show, a lady said my cards were pricey. I showed her my wounds. She purchased 7 cards. There you go. That's the way you got to do it. If I lay this one on top, I think that I have the color in there pretty good. So maybe just a little bit right there. Kind of deepen up that little spot. And then I'm going to lift this up because that is all the color we need on this one. Now I'm going to give you guys the little heads up. There is stuff on the back of these because I don't like to waste paper either. So I recycle when the printing doesn't work. The next one is going to be green, and I know I have purple around here that it might pick up, and that's okay. You know, we're mixing the colors, so I don't really care if it ends up like bleeding into, but if you did and it bothered you, that could be a problem for you. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. So I'm okay with it. Twisted Citron is next. You do that with your paper too? Yeah, I'm not wasting that paper. You finally don't have hot flashes? Well, you are lucky. Let me just tell you the story, Barbara. It's a real short story, okay? I had a hysterectomy when I was in my 30s, and I will have hot flashes like that for the rest of my life. I've had them since I was in my 30s, and I will have them forever. Can't get away from it. They told me destined to have them for my entire life. Sometimes I go a couple months, I don't have any, and then they come on and they're just a nightmare. You're not supposed to have any if you've had a hysterectomy, but that didn't work for me, unfortunately. I'm one of the oddities, if you will. Power surges, that's true. That's exactly what it feels like. I mean, sometimes I'm so hot that my glasses fog up, which is insane. Yeah, it is awful. It sucks, but I know it's going to happen. It doesn't make it any easier, but it does, you know. Because I had several issues at the same time that caused me to have the hysterectomy and thyroid issues and stuff. So they struggle to regulate that all the time. When it's off, I start having hot flashes, night sweats, all the girly stuff that you hate. Okay, now I'm going to lift this one up because now I have the green on this one. And I'm going to be careful because it does have some open sides to it, so we don't want to tear it or anything. So we have layer 2. And then this will be layer 1. So we're going to lay that on here. This is exciting, isn't it? And it doesn't take too long. It's more about the fun of it and what is it going to look like when I'm done than it is how long it's going to take to do it. You know, I don't really care how long it takes. I just get excited. Okay, Salty Ocean. So here we go. I did think that my purple was low on ink, so I tried to fill it up a little bit before the live, but it wouldn't absorb into the ink pad, so I was like, well, maybe it's not dry then. I don't know. So, I don't know why it takes so long to do that one, because it's so dry, probably because I use it all the time, but why wouldn't it absorb when I put the refill on there? I don't know. You need to add to your oxides. Oh, I love my oxides. I think I have a few duplicates too, so that we used at shows. So you could send me a message and see if I have any of the extras. I'd be more than happy to work that out with you. I'm looking for my X-Acto blade because I have a spot over here that I want to... Where'd it go? That I want to get that little piece. Like, I don't want to cut my mat below. There we go. So you could just pay shipping and I'll ship them to you. And if I have the refills, I'll refill them before they go out the door. I don't mind doing that. But they just sit here because I don't ever need them anymore because I don't do the expos anymore with the other companies. So, but I do have extras and I don't mind passing them on to someone who can use them. Hee. Okay, great. Do that. And I will get them sent to you. No problem. In fact, I don't even have enough space to store them, so they're kind of sitting on top of my... Dale had to make me a holder to hold them on top of my ink pad holders, because I have extras. There we go. Look, I got a really smooth, pretty blue on this one. And I kind of mixed the purple in a little bit from the sides, and I kind of like that. I think it's neat. Okay, now I'm going to do another step to this. Normally that would be the last step, but I think I'm going to pull this back in, lay it over top. It won't be exactly perfect, and that's okay. You know, it's because we cut it with a knife and we were guessing, and all of that is a-okay. As long as it's close, we're good. Yeah, that was smooth blending. I like that. I really like that ink pad. Some of them blend better than others, I think. You know, they make them in the small now, don't you? Did you hear that? They make the oxides in the little containers now. So you can use them in the little blocks now. They also make it in spray. Did you know that? Look. Oxide spray. That's kind of cool too. I just played with those today. I've had them, but I haven't played with them. So, all right. So now I'm going to use this brush. I'm going to use purple, but I'm going to use this brush right here. So, because I just want to put a little bit of purple in a couple of the places. Not real dark, but just kind of a little bit in some of these slots where I would have normally done the regular stencil like that. So I want to just kind of put some of that color in there. Just a little bit. Real light, not real dark. Unless I accidentally get too much, and then that particular one will be darker. And that's okay. It's some crazy madness. But how long would the cubes last for blending? I feel like I'd be refilling it a lot. I think you would be refilling it a lot. I do. I really do. I mean, they'd be great for someone who wouldn't use them too awful much, but I don't know. Mine, they would never last for me. They do last a really long time, though. My big ones, some of them, I've had them for years and not had to refill them or anything. So do we see a pattern going on here? So I'm not going to do all of them. I'm kind of doing like a little pattern on here. Because I want this to look really twisty. Twisty and turny. So these are some of the same things that you can do if you don't do the other layers. You know, this is some of the different paths. You can make a little path, or you can do the whole thing. So many different opportunities. I think I'll do this one too, just a little bit. There we go. There. Now we have like a little squiggly going on there. And one more thing I'm going to do, and then we're going to be done. I'm going to take that salty ocean that is on the bottom right here. And I want to deepen that up so it looks like I added another color. And I have this new thing that I got at the expo. One side is kind of pointy. Maybe you can see that. See how it has a little point right there? And this one is rounded. So we're going to use the rounded one. And the point to this little tool that I got from the maker session is to bounce on your stuff. It's supposed to give you a little bit different texture, but I want to bounce in a bit more of the color. So that's kind of neat. Look how good that works. And I'm just deepening that blue color just so we'll see some different variation. And I thought this brush would be the best one to do that because you can really get some color in there by bouncing up and down. I like this. So I tested it at the expo, but I hadn't actually tried it like at home. This is the first time. And I think it's really cool. I'm going to add just a little bit in a couple of spots over here just to mix up that color a bit. I think it'll make it really cool. There we go. So then you can take these out and you put them in one of these. So I just marked them round pointed just so I could remember. And then you just take these out and put them in there so you don't get anything on your stuff that's in your drawer. So you just put it in there and then you have it for next time, or you can wash it or whatever you want to do. That does what I wanted to do with this. So I'm going to use my tweezers to lift up my stencil. These are the ones that are the darker blue. You can't see it a whole lot, but you can see it a little bit. See? I think it's cool. I didn't want it to be real obvious, so I'm okay with just being able to see a little bit of color there. We're going to lift this up, but we want to be real careful because we have some open ends down here and over here. So I'm just going to lift it up carefully like that. There we go. So you can see some of the dark when you turn it the right way. See that? That's really cool. I like it a lot. Okay, and we're going to do one more step to this. So that was step 2, was putting all the colors on there. And step 3 is going to be stamping putting the glitter and stamping the teacups. So I'm going to stamp the teacups first, and then we'll mess with the glitter, and then we'll let it dry while we color our image. So this is medieval blue, and I want the blue to stay fairly light, and it's pretty dark. See how dark it is? So I'm going to stamp it once here and then once here. Okay, that way it'll be a little bit lighter. And what I'm really trying to do is just get some of these coffee cups in the background. And I'm going to turn them all kinds of different ways so that they look really neat all over the place. Somebody spilling their coffee or tea or whatever you want to, whatever you're dreaming it's got in it. Yep. You like it? It's neat, isn't it? I'm really happy. I knew that it would come out. I just couldn't vision exactly what it was going to look like, but I had a feeling it would work. I've done a lot of messing with stencils, so kind of have a little experience on how that's all going to play out. So I'm just kind of doing them randomly, some upside down, some sideways, so we should get another one upside down, because it's like they're going through a whirlwind, so their coffee cups are going everywhere. That's what I see anyway. Some of them I'm stamping off the paper, and that's okay too, because you don't want it to look consistent, like all the same way or anything. And I think that works really good. I'm going to do one more with just the bottom, like right in this corner, with just the bottom of the glass, just so I have a little bit of that. Maybe I should put one in this corner with the top, just so that I have some going off the paper. I just like to have it look like it's really random. First time using different color ink in a very, very long time. So, watch. Isn't that cool? And then we're going to go even one step further than that. And this is why I'm using the glittery one. Tim Holtz sells a refresher spray. It works great for ink pads. Ooh, I'm going to have to look into that. I did not know that. Okay, so this is clear ink. I mean, clear glitter. So when you stamp it on there, it's like, it's sparkly. It's really sparkly, but it's clear. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to hold this one over top, and so I don't have to do the whole thing. And what I'm going to do is just pounce wherever you're going to be able to see it. So I'm just going to like cover this area right here, because I know when I close that, you're going to be able to see that spot with glitter. So instead of having to do the whole thing, this is the shortcut. Just put the glitter wherever, because I want the glitter to sparkle through. So I'm just going to add it. I added it there. I need to do it over here. So I'm just kind of randomly doing it like whatever would cover that spot versus doing the whole thing. I could do the whole thing, but why? Why waste my glittery thing, you know? So we need one down here. And then we need one going off the page, which is down here. And that should cover all of the spots. So I think I can see glitter through there. So now that has to dry. So we're going to put that aside. I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to wipe this off, because look, it picks up that oxide. So I'm just going to do it like I do my colorless blender until it gets clear again, and then I'm going to go in for the green. So I'm going to do the same thing on the green layer, and I only care about the ones that are affected, not the ones that you can see all the way through, because you'll see the purple on those. So we kind of have a whole lot right in here. I like this little glittery thing. It's pretty cool. So that should cover all of that. And then we have one down here. Now we could spray it with something, but then we have to wait even longer for it to dry. And I'm all about the let's go fast. And this is the fastest way, I think. And then down here, we have that one. And then let's see, I think that is all of them. Okay, so now this one can dry. So I'm just gonna set those aside, and then we're gonna color. This one, I'm not gonna put anything on this one right now. If we have to at the end, we can, but for now, I'm not going to. I'm gonna get all that green off the tip. And yeah, I think this is probably wasting some of my glitter stuff, but I don't mind. It wasn't very expensive. It's called Sheer Shimmer Stick. I don't know where you get them. I got it at the expo. But I like that it has a lot of glitter in it, so that makes me really happy. Okay, so our next thing is going to be our little guy. So grab your little guy. I'm going to move all my brushes out of the way so I can color. And I don't need my X-Acto anymore. So now we've built our entire background. So when we're going to color this up, and then we're going to put it all together. So I think I'm going to wipe off my desk real quick before we get rolling, so I don't get anything on my little guy. My little Mad Hatter guy. There we go. All right. Now we can zoom in. See our little hatter here. Okay. So for the skin tones, I have selected for tonight E000, E00, E04, E11, and E13. So this is them. Ta-da! 5 colors. This is them. Dale's letting bugs in as he goes out front. And they just want to hang out with me because I have all the lights on me. Okay, so those are the colors we're going to use. We're going to go ahead and get started. We are going to need one for his cheeks. So tonight for him, I'm going to use R12. R12. So we're going to start with E000. And let me get my Copic holder so I can make sure I'm showing you the colors. Right here. There we go. Now you'll always know what color I'm on based on what is in the holder. So I'm going to color his face. So if you happen to ever pop into a live late, you'll always know what color I'm on. And I always put the color combination in the description on YouTube when I upload these to YouTube after the live. That way you can always refer back to it, and the color combinations are in the description. And then his little hands. And then that's it. You can't really see his neck, so that's all we have to color. Okay, so next one is going to be E04. And this is the one that we're going to put the shadow in. So I'm going to start right up here underneath his hat and go along there. Just kind of get that filled in. And then right here where his hair comes over. And I'm going to put a little bit right here because he sure has a lot of hair shadowing his face. Put a little on this side too. And I don't usually go down the sides, but he has so much hair, I feel like he needs it. And then I'm going to do this part of the hand. Maybe a little bit of the fingers right here. And then where his hands are folded over. And then I'm going to do just a little bit by the edge of his knuckles. I'll put just a teeny spot right there. And then whenever I do people or animals or whatever, I always use the darkest shadow color for inside their mouth. I feel like it makes their tongue or teeth or whatever stand out a little bit more to have that inside of the mouth stay dark. But that's me. The next color is going to be E13. This is usually a little bit darker than what I usually use, but I feel like all the dark colors we're going to use with him, it kind of needs to be a little dark. So with the E13, I'm going to push that color back into the shadow area, smoothing that edge between the darkest color and this one. So don't worry, this one is still really dark. So it's not going to have a whole lot, but I am going to make sure you can't see that line between the darkest color and this color. Because I don't want to see a line there. Then I'm going to do the same thing with his hands. Just kind of working that out. I'm okay with his hands being a little bit darker because his hair's shadowing them, and then he has the teapot and all that stuff going on. So lots and lots going on for him. Okay, after that one, we have E11, and then we're going to focus on the cheeks, and then we'll finish up. So E11 is next. I'm going to do just a little bit on his nose. I like there to be a little bit of a nose, but not too much. I am not a big person on doing big, realistic noses on my people. It's not my preference. There's nothing wrong with it. Some people do it really well, but I'm not one of them. I feel like it's crazy. You know, it just feels like it's not right. This is an animated guy, so he's not going to have a real nose. I'm going to pull this color down, and I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. And do the same thing on this side. With each layer, you have to soften that line between this color and the last color. Otherwise, you're going to have lines all over your guy's face and hands. So just really work on softening that that meet-up point where the two colors meet. So you might wonder why I don't call it blending, because it's kind of a misconception. You're not actually blending. The ink is doing the blending. Depending on how much colorless blender in there is how fast it's going to blend. That's why sometimes I'll stop and sit there, because I'm waiting for it to finish up the process before I move in with the next color. So this is the cheeks, and I'm just going to add some in there. I want him to have rosy cheeks. It's gonna look a little bit red right now, but you don't really have to worry about that, because we're gonna go over it with the next color, and it'll soften that up and make it look less vibrant red. Now we're going to use the last color, which is E00, and this is where we're going to have everything colored in. We're going to meet it all together. So I'm going to go over these cheeks and over these cheeks. And then we have to do this again because we can still see that line. Right? We don't want to see that line. So I'm going to go over that, and then we're going to touch this again because I can still see it only on the line, just to soften that up. Make sure that that doesn't leave a line, and that smooths it out so you can't see that. Like your preference of drawing noses, mine is drawing hands. Hands are hard. I'm not going to lie. Hands are very hard. Hands, feet, and noses. Oh, hands and feet are the hardest. I mean, sometimes I draw that person's hands and feet 1,000,000 times before I come to what I like. Sometimes I draw them a whole bunch of times, and then I show it to Dale, and he says, yeah, something's off. And I go, oh, those feet or those hands. Because it's frustrating. It is for most, I think for a lot of artists, it's a struggle for sure. There we go. Okay, so we have our skin done. It looks a little dark, but it won't once we get all the other colors in there. So I'm going to take those colors and set them aside. And we're going to pull the colors for the hair now. So I have 4 colors for hair, and I think these colors will still match our background. So I know orangish, yellowish, whatever matches with the purple, and I know it matches with blue. So this is a crazy combination, but this is what we're going to use. E29, then E09, then YR18, then Y38. It's going to be a little crazy, but it'll be okay. We're going to start with the darkest one, that's E29. And I'm going to start, just take a deep breath and do each section at a time, and it's easier to swallow than the whole thing. So I'm going to start up here under the brim of his hat, and I'm going to put some shadow. And then that piece of hair is overlapping this one. So I'm going to put just a little bit of shadow there. And it's also overlapping what's back there. This one's overlapping here. So I'm going to put a little shadow in there. This one, like that. This one's over that one. And just follow it through all the ones that look like they're overlapping. And it might be hard for you to tell. I mean, it's easy for me because I drew it. I knew what I was thinking when I did it. But if your perception of it is different, that's okay. Just choose the ones that you think are over top of the other ones and make them darker. That's all that you have to do. This part right here, anytime there's a little artist drawn line out here where there's no color, I'm just gonna go over that. Then this little section back here, you always have whatever's closest to his head is always the darkest, just like your own hair. Whatever's underneath is usually the darkest, unless you dyed it blonde or something, which I have seen. So I'm not going to say it's always that way, but I am going to say traditionally the underside of your hair is the darkest. So there we go. We have some of that dark color in there. My husband said my hands and feet look like aliens. Yep, I've had that before too. It's really a lot of practice. It really is. Okay. So you take a step back, look at it. Does it look like you have enough of that dark color in there? I feel like I do on that side. So we're going to move to the other side. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start up here by the brim of the hat. And we're going to extend down. And then we're just going to try to mark those that are over top of the other ones. So like this whole piece right here is over top of this. And then I might as well just go down here and do this part right now because we know that's going to be dark. I'm going to turn him upside down real quick, or at least the other direction. And then these pieces right here where they're over the other ones, I'm just going to get some color in there. This one's over, that one's over top of this one. And then this one is just the underside. Got a little line here from the artist. Then right here. And then this piece right here from the top. This that's under the hat is going to come out. This one is over top, and then this artist line right there. I'm going to color that in. So take a step back, make sure you have the colors you want in there. I think this one right here needs the underside, so I'm going to add that. I also feel like right here it's missing too. And then I feel good about that, so we can move on to the next color, which is E09. This one's a bit on the red side, so that's where we're going to start bringing in the transition from brown to red to orange. So we're going to extend from where we put that last color. It's definitely lighter, so you're definitely going to be able to see it. But in the end, we want this hair to be more orange than red, so I'm not going to put like a large amount of this color in there. I'm not going to put it everywhere that I put the darkest color. I'm just going to add a little bit here and there, extending the line that I had started with the darkest color. And it's kind of random. I mean, you can try to follow the pattern, but this guy is crazy, and so is his hair. So, gonna be a little hard to follow that. So there we go. I feel pretty good. That's enough red over there on that side. So now we're gonna do this side. Just extending a little bit further, adding a little bit here. So we have some style going on. I think one of the hardest things is keeping yourself from adding too much of each color and then you run out of space. So just try to remind yourself while you're coloring, you know, I still have 2 colors, I still have 2 colors. Just keep telling yourself that, and it'll help you remember you don't want to put all this dark color in there. There we go. Now we have, I think we have a pretty good amount of hair left right now for us to color. So this one is YR18, and then we're just going to leave just small slivers for our highlight after this color. So this is where you tend to do around the outside if you have a lot of space. We're leaving just highlight areas, so a lot of it's going to be filled in. I'm trying to leave the top portion of pieces of hair to be colored in that lightest color. And it's okay, that color that I picked, it still has the same type of tone as those darker colors, so it will still blend, which is why I chose those colors. Anything here close to the head, that's just gonna be in this color. It's not gonna have the highlight to it. It's just too far under his hair. Then we're going to go to this side. So see how much I have, just enough in there to play that last color. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Here's the part that takes the longest. Once we get done with hair, the other stuff kind of rolls into place pretty easily. Or at least that's what I think. I used to color like the hair last because I was scared to color it. I was afraid I was gonna mess it up. But then if you get all the way to the end and you do mess it up, then you've done all that work. So I don't do that anymore because it's just not worth it. Next one is Y38. And that's where I'm going to come and put this color right in here. And it's going to make this hair pop because it has the dark. And then we add this little bit of yellow that's going to mix with the orange and make it look really cute. Really crazy. I like this hair. This is not the color hair I put on the package, but I wanted to do it different than what you saw on the packaging. So, see how it makes it really highlight it? It really has a brightness to that that part of his hair. See how it stands out? I like it. So we're going to put this just in these places where we still see white. I'm not going to do a lot of blending. I still want my strands of hair to show. That's what makes it look like hair. So I'm just really adding in the yellow wherever the white is. There we go. He's got some really bright ones right here in the front. You love the hair? Me too. I was so excited to come out with this one because I get to play with the hair color so much. I did debate tonight doing him monochromatic, like black and white on top of all that colorful background, because I thought that would be kind of cool. But then I was like, everybody's gonna want the red hair, orange hair, something really cool. So I went ahead and did it that way instead. Okay, when I'm at this point, you want highlights in your own hair like that? I'm about to get mine done, and I put highlights in my hair too, but they're fuchsia highlights. I always choose the lightest color first. That's the one that I'll do next. That way I don't pull the darker colors into the light by accident. So my general practice is to go to the lightest color I'm going to use next, unless I just don't know what I'm going to use, and then it's all random. It's up for grabs. E44, E43, E41. Those are the three I'm going to use now. When I choose my colors before I color the picture, I don't do that always, but when I do, then I really am not deciding exactly what is going to be that color. I decide that right now. Like, I will color every part that I want to be this color. So I'm going to start off with this being his pants. So I'm going to go ahead and start the darkest color on his pants. All of that is shadowed by that coat he's wearing. And then a little bit right here. And then, you know, we gotta put some dark here, even though that's not our favorite thing. And then I'm gonna do right along the bottom because it's tucked into his boots, so it's gonna be pretty dark. And then I think I'm also going to do his under this shirt, this little piece of his shirt right here that's like tucked into his clothes. I'm gonna do that. And then I definitely feel like if I've done those two pieces, I need something in his hat that's going to be that color. So I think what I'm going to do is make the hat band this color. That way I can make the hat either green or purple or whatever color I choose, because this is neutral enough that it'll just match, you know? That is how my brain is working while I'm choosing the colors for this guy. Okay, so I think I'm going to do some of the teapot as well, like a little bit of the teapot and probably the teacup. So I'm going to do this base part of the teacup in this color, the handle. And then this part that's closest to his hand is going to have the shadow color, but I'm going to leave the top, the little rim, alone because I want to color that a different color. I'll put just a little bit on this side. And then because it's tea, we might as well put a little bit in here. So we'll make it look like tea. And then on this side, for this one, I'm going to choose to do like this little stripe at the bottom here, and then this part with the spots on it, I'm going to do that part in this darkest color. It's a very small area, so it's not going to get a whole lot of variation. And then this part right here where we're pouring the tea, for some reason no ink went on the paper when I did that. And then I feel pretty good about that. So we're going to stop with those colors. Next one is E43, and now we're going to start adding this color. I'm going to say blending it out, but you know it's really the ink doing it. Okay, so I'm going to go along here and extend these. And I'm going to keep going, and we're going to give that a chance to dry a little bit, and then we're going to go back and work it if we need to. Sometimes if you do too much too fast, you wash out your color. I don't want to do that because I don't want to have to color the same color twice. So now that I stopped for a second, I'm going to go back and work just that line in between those two colors that we had on the pants. And that will soften up that area right there. If it still looks not softened enough for you, just go over it one more time. So you choose how many times you want to go over it, because it's up to you how dark you want your pants to be. I really like this color because this color actually builds some texture, and I love that. So I'm going to go up here, extend these lines so we can get some real good texture going on in this hat. There we go. And then the cup, same thing, a little bit here, a little bit here, and right along there. We also want this to look like tea, so we're going to do a little bit in the cup. And then this, I want this to stay a little bit dark, so I'm going to finish the blend out of this part right here with this color. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. And the reason we start with the lighter color is because if I go outside the lines here, I can cover it up with the next color. So I don't have to worry about that. Oops, I missed a spot right here. That happens all the time. I can't tell you how often that happens. You're loving this? Yay! Okay, next color is E41. And this one is, we're going to finish up with this one. We don't have another color for this, so we're going to finish with this one. So I'm going to go back and forth and give that a lot of ink. So whenever I do that back and forth, there's more pressure so that it'll really give it a chance to blend that ink in there. But I don't want to do too much at one time because I don't want to wash out the color that I have in there. So I'll get a second go and then we'll give it a second to dry and we'll see if we need to do it again. So I really like that. That looks really good. I think that it's a little bit dark right here and it's a little bit dark right along that edge. So I'm just going to soften that up a little bit and I'm happy. It blended really well. I like it. This one, I'm going to go up here. Again, I'm going to do that back and forth. I'm not going to do too much. I want to leave those lines in his hat, so I'm going to stop. That's as far as I'm going with the hat. So this stuff right there, just back and forth. Same with the cup. Kind of that back and forth. Just fill in the bottom. Then I'm going to rotate him around. There's nothing to do on that side because I already finished that up. And then we're going to finish his little shirt right here. And there we go. Now we have used all the places that I want to use this light brown. Or at least I'm pretty sure. That doesn't mean I won't go back. I do go back sometimes. Okay. The next color that I want to pick is, I think I want to pick the green. So I have YG17, YG23, and YG01. Oh, you know what? I might need that one color one more time. Let's go back to it before we start with green. I'm going to pull just the E41, just the E41, because I don't have any light grays pulled out, and I want to use less markers because it is alive and people are going to watch it, rewatch it, and want to use the colors, and I don't want them to have too many colors. So I'm going to use this E41 on my cards. So right here where they overlap, and then up here, and up here. And then for this card in the front, it's just going to be this side of the card. And then I'm going to use my colorless blender to wash that out, and that'll keep it just a slightly off-white, which I'm okay with because he is crazy, so his cards might be old. You never know. So 0, 0. I'm going to just blend that out. And same thing on this one. Now we don't want to do the hat right away because this colorless blender will suck whatever color over here into where we're at. So we need to give that a rest before we move on to doing anything with that. Okay, now we have our greens. So I'm going to start with YG17. I'll move him over a little bit so I don't go off the page. I don't want to do his hat, so I'm going to choose the other items on his outfit. So in this case, this time I'm going to do his jacket in this green color. So I'm going to start where it's overlapping, like this collar is overlapping and his hair, and then this sleeve is overlapping that side of his outfit. Also right here is under his arm, and then the inside of the jacket, I like to make that the darkest color, so it'll be the same way with the inside down here, is like I'm keeping that inside of his jacket darker. So for this part down here, I'm just going to put a little bit right there around the bottom. I'm not going to go all the way up to the top. In here, I'm going to put a generous amount of this dark color in here because I want to keep that area fairly dark. This is so adorable. My son brought home pizza, so I have to say goodnight. Thanks everyone for the lovely chat. Thank you for being here. And you can always watch the replay. So same thing on this side. And I love pizza, by the way. Yum, yum. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. In this area where it's just a small area, we're going to get some of that green in there. And then again, I'm going to come down here and just put a little bit at this corner area and a lot more generous here. And along the bottom. There we go. And then we need to come over here and do where his cuff goes over. And then again, like I said, the inside of the cuff. And then I like to give the cuff a little bit of design, you know, fold-ish. So I'm going to go ahead and put those little marks just on his cuff so you'll be able to see it when we color it all out. I don't think I want to do any of the teapot in this color. So I'm going to skip the teapot and I'm going to go to this feather. This is his feather, and I didn't put any design in the feather, so we're going to do that now. So I'm going to start right here, and then I'm going to draw this like center part of the feather. Kind of give it that feather look. And then we're also going to do some of this type of feathering out. It's almost like you do with leaves, but it's kind of the same with the feather. For me, anyway. And it doesn't have to be certain areas. Like with a leaf, you kind of stay more consistent, but with a feather, it can be anything, anywhere. And then I'm going to come in from this side and kind of shadow what's along his hat because that's going to remain fairly dark. And then any of the ones that are right down here are pretty low on the feather. So I'm going to put just a little bit in there and a little bit along this part right here that's the underside of the feather. And that's it. That's all I'm going to put in the feather for now. Now, I want his eyes to be crazy green, so we're going to use this color as well. So we're going to start at the top of his eyes, and I'm going to want to do his eyes while the ink is wet. So I'm going to, when I grab my next color, I'm going to immediately do the eyes first. So that's it for dark green. And then I'm going to grab the lighter green, YG23, and I'm immediately going to go to his eyes and extend that down a bit. I'm going to leave the bottom open for the last green color, and I'm okay with it drying for that part because I want it to lighten up the eyes and really make them look glassy. So I'm going to stop with that. Now I'm going to go down here and extend these colors out just a bit. It should still keep that dark of the YG17. We only have one more color, so we're only going to leave highlighted areas. We're going to do around the outside. I'm going to blend up from where we had the last color, and we're only going to leave small areas for that highlight color. This part is all going to be colored in. Sleeves, a little bit around the edges of the sleeves. I'm going to do it extremely light because I really want to leave those lines I put in there visible. I'm going to do my dark highlight on these collars with this color. Just like that. Then I'm going to blend this out. This guy is so fun to color because you can do any colors and you don't have to worry about him looking crazy because he kind of is. That's the best part. Kind of like when I did the superheroes, and I could make that superhero wear any color outfit I want because he's my superhero, you know? Okay, so now we're going to work on this feather right here. So I'm not going to go over what I already put in there. I'm going to try to go like in between those areas and kind of try to keep that feather look. It's almost like you do with hair or fur. Keep those lines in there. So we just did a little bit with it. We don't want to mess too much with that. I think we got everything with this color. So we're going to move on to our last color, which is YG01. And this one picks up a lot of yellow. So just hold your breath. It's going to change everything. We're going to work that color in there so that we don't have any lines. It blends super nice. It kind of does it itself. So once you get the ink in there, it'll blend it out. You don't have to put a whole lot of work into it. This is a great color combination because it blends so nicely. I'm not going to put any in there. I want to keep that pretty dark. I don't always do that, but tonight that's the way I want his jacket to go. So I'm just barely touching in his sleeves because we want to keep those lines. I like them. I'm going to go from the top of his collar in to keep that shadow since it's only the last color. There we go. Pretty good, pretty good. I like it. It's pretty. Now, for the feather, we're going to touch extremely light because we want to keep those lines in there. And I'm not going to do that back and forth. I'm only going to touch this color where it's white and from the outside in. That way we still keep our design in the feather and it still looks pretty cool. So now the eyes. This is a teeny tiny spot, so we're gonna hover over the paper and touch it extremely lightly. We do not want to go under, we do not want to go in the whites of his eyes. But you have a gel pen, so if you mess it up, it's okay, you can fix it. And there we go. So now he has all that done. All right, so the next color I have picked is purple. And then I have one more color after purple and a little bit of black. So we're going to do purple next. Our purple is V09, V17, V06, and V15. 09, 17, 06, 15. Usually when I give you the colors, that's the order I'm going to use them in. V09 is first. It's my darkest color. And you know, I was thinking about giving him black shoes, but I think we're going to give him purple shoes because it makes life fun. He's going to have the ultimate purple shoes. So just putting it on the inside and then just a teeny bit right there where the fold is. Same thing on this side, and then the inside, and then just a teeny little line there to show where his boots bend. And then this part of his vest is going to be purple. So I'm just going to build this like really thin line both on the outside and up against where his vest folds over on top of the other side. And then over here, we're going to put just a little bit more of the vest is showing. We're going to give it just a little bit more of this darker color. We'll come back at the end and we'll fill in his buttons with this purple color, but we're not going to do that right now. All right, so we're going to do his hat, but I'm going to skip this brim right here because I'm going to make that a different color. So we're going to go here, start building that in, this area right here, and right along the base of that hat belt or whatever you call that, I don't know. And then right here, coming from his hair into that underside of his hat. Very nice. I love the purple. It's so pretty. Okay, now we're going to do under these cards, we'll have shadow, and then from the edge of that hat, because we want to show that hat is rounded. So this base right here, a little bit under those cards, and then this side of the hat. Now I'm not going to go over the heart. We're going to make the heart a different color. So I'm just going to be real careful going around that heart. All right, so I like that. We need to put a little bit on the pot. So I'm going to put the outside of this mug, this purple color, so that coffee or tea or whatever's in there stands out a little bit. On the back side, I put it dark, but on the front side, I'm going to leave a space for a lighter color so it looks like there's some shine to it. And then this little pot that he has here, I'm just going to put a little bit in these little petals because I want it to be the lighter colors. So I'm only going to have some of that dark right at the bottom. I'm also going to do the bottom of this part right here, and we'll do the lighter color on the top. And we're going to make that whole pot pretty much this color. I'm going to make this little strip right here purple. And the one right here, it's very tiny spots, so if you can't do that, don't worry about it. We'll fill it in with a lighter color. All right, next is V17. This color combination is going to switch between purple and like a more fuchsia color. So we'll be able to play those to our advantage. Starting on his boots again, down here, I want to keep them darker. So I'm going to fill most of that in. We'll come in with that black color I'm holding for the soles. This one, I want this one to have some of the fuchsia-ish color in it, so I'm only going to do a little bit. And then this one, same thing. I don't want a whole lot here. I want these to be the lighter colors, so I'm just going to put a teeny bit in there. There we go. That's the underside of the pot, and so this top portion is going to get some color. There we go. And then now we have his hat. So we're going to extend from here. And we definitely want some purple in this hat. So for now, it's going to look purple, but it's about to change with the next color. The underside of his hat will stay darker because it is the underside. Then extending this right here. We're going to go from the heart out. There we go. Start to fill that in. Soften those edges so you'll be able to mix them with the next colors. And there we go. That's it for that one. Hee hee. Oh, I really like the greens on him. Okay, V06. This is where things get switched up a bit. So I'm going to skip the shoes and go straight to the vest. And when I put this color in, you're going to see what I mean. This is going to change up. If you did not want that fuchsia color in there, you would leave this number out. Okay? That's your call. But I love this combination. So I, of course, am going to include it. This is one of my favorite color combinations. I mean, it's purple, so you know I love it. We're just being real careful around that hat line because I'm going to change the color of that hat line to a different color. I don't know how it's going to work out, but we're going to do it anyway. Because I don't usually color the hat line a different color, but we're going to do it this time.
It works out to be a good highlight.
Yeah. I think it's going to be good. Okay. There we go. We want to blend out these shadow colors that we put there. And then we need to work on, I'm going to work on this part right here. So we have a light color around the mug. And then this one will be colored in. This one just a little bit. This one just a little bit. We'll need the last color for that. I'm going to do
Hello, Jana.
This part right here so that it's not the lightest color. I don't want it to be the lightest color. So I'm just going to blend this out. And then we're going to work on these. And I want to go around the outside on this because we only have one more color. But we're going to leave that last little space for the highlight. Not really a whole lot of room on that last little spot over there. We're also going to work on the handle. I'm probably just going to do the whole handle. It's small. And it's finished. All right, next one. We forgot his tongue. Do you see that? I say we, but it was really me. B15, that's our last color. All our purple should be colored in when we're done with this. So we're going to blend this in the shoes. And it's going to take a little bit. So we're going to do one shoe. And then we're going to go back to it and soften that up so it blends super nicely. Same thing on that side. This one, I'm going to go from the outside of this vest in towards that purple color because I don't really want to wash that purple, fuchsia, whatever color out at all. So we'll do it like that. Same thing with this part. Just going to do a real light, like back and forth, but not blending too much because I'll pull that dark color in there and wash that out. And I want to leave that highlight the way it is. I'll put just a tad bit there just so the colors match. And then here, we're going to do that back and forth over this empty space right here. We'll have to work that just a little bit because that didn't work all by itself. So we're going to give it a little bit more help. It won't take long because these colors work really friendly together. So there we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to finish off the teapot in here from the top down, from the top down, the spout, and the last one. Now our little teapot is finished, but we still have the spades, the heart, the bow, and the tongue, and the soles of his shoes. So let's take care of those last few little things and we should be good. So I'm going to grab that R12 that we did on the cheeks, if I can find it in my pile of markers over here. There it is. So we're going to pull that one back out, the R12, and we're just going to put that on his tongue. Super easy, really quick, no problem. Now, I'm going to grab the color that I want to make his bow tie. Yes, I'm going to make his bow tie blue. I want to tie a little bit of this blue with this background, okay? So we have 3 colors of blue. We have B06, 04, and 02. So I'm going to do B06 on his little bow tie. So right here. Very tiny brush strokes if possible. And right up against his face. And then for this middle part, I'm going to do the underside of that little round part. And then I'm also going to do this heart up here. So just one side for now. So we didn't need these colors very much, but we needed the accent to match the background. So
has anybody watched the product review video on YouTube?
Okay, while you're thinking about that and responding, I'm going around the outside with this color, leaving a small little bit for the highlight area in his bow tie, and then I'm gonna go around the outside on this heart and leave a small area there for a highlight as well. They're mesmerized. It'll take them a little bit to answer. BO2. It's on our YouTube channel.
Has anybody watched the October product review on YouTube? That was the question. I asked because I wanted to see what you thought of the open sequence of the animation, because I did that in Procreate.
He's trying to determine if he likes it or not. I'm going to go back in one more time with B04 and kind of darken this up. I wanted it to be a little bit darker on the heart, so I just went back in with that one color. Now we have to finish up the very last things. So I'm going to start with C9, and I'm going to put that completely on the soles of his purple boots. There we go. And then the last thing we have to do is this little spade right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the bottom portion of that with this C9 because I want it to stay mostly black. No, I didn't watch it. I love Procreate though. Me too. C7 is the next one, and I think we're just going to finish it off with C7.
Well, I mean, you could technically take the...
There we go.
PNG digital files and make those into stamps, and you can create your own little coloring book.
We have to go back with B06, 04, and 02 because I forgot the brim of his hat, and that's what color I want to make it. So I'm going to go in there and do the edge of each side. And then I'm going to do this part right here where it dips down right in the center. And then B04, we're going to extend that color a little bit from each side, leaving the center part for the highlight. And then B02 will finish that up, giving him a little bit more blue than just the heart on his hat. So look at that. That's a cool hat. All right. So those who watch all the time, which is mostly you guys, it's time to do the eyeballs with the multi-liner so they stand out just a little bit more. This is definitely personal preference. Do not have to do this unless you just like doing it like me. I feel like it makes a difference. See the difference? You can tell just by looking at that. It might be a subtle difference, but it's enough to count for me. So don't worry if you cover up the white. We're going to use the white gel pen, so you don't have to worry about that. Double check and make sure you got everything colored. We missed the buttons, so I have to go back with the V09 to do the buttons real quick. They're super fast, so I'm just going to take my V09, pounce on those little buttons, and they're done. Looks like I got everything else. We'll do the white gel pen in just a minute. I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to pull in our pieces that we worked on earlier. We'll do the white gel pen in just a minute. I'm going to set that aside. Here's our green, our purple, and this is kind of cool. Look at that. That's really cool. And then we have our blue with our coffee cups. So this one's going to go on top of this one. Do I have them upside down? Yep. Let's flip that around. So I did get glitter in all the spots except for that one. I missed that one. Then this is going to go on top of here. Let's see if I missed any other ones. Nope, I got all the other ones, but I missed this spot. So we are going to have to add that little bit up there. Otherwise, it's going to look kind of funny. It won't be too bad because it's just a really small area. Just get a little bit in there, and I think we'll be okay. All right, so we got that part. I did watch, just went back and looked. Your thumbnail is great. The animation of the logo, is that what you're asking about? Yes, that's what he's asking about. This will have time to dry while we're adding the dimensions to the back. So I am going to actually cut up this type of stuff for my layering, just so that I can get that going. That way I can put like larger pieces than those little squares. We'll be here all night for those little squares. So there we go. Just going to cut myself strips of these and start filling that in. We'll have to do each layer. Oops, I put that too close. And then here, we'll cut that off. And then here, we'll go this way.
Yeah, I've not done anything with the animation part, but I thought it would be fun to start learning, so I messed around and did the animation for the swirl drops and then the reveal of the logo, so I can start doing something more creative for our videos.
Try to grow that YouTube. It's kind of hard to get growth on the YouTube unless you do all the fancy things, I think. Let's put this one right here. All right, we're gonna have to put some smaller pieces like right around the edge, like here. I need one over here. So I'm gonna cut this like this. Don't worry, I use all of this too. I don't like to waste anything. I don't like any waste. I'll find a spot to put that teeny tiny little thing every single time. There we go. Let's flip it over and see if we have any places that like dip down. I have one right here. So we need something right there. So this works for that. Everything else felt like it was pretty good. I'll just put that extra piece right there. Maybe one little small piece on that side over there. Right here. And that should be pretty good. I think that works. All right. This one goes on top of this one. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll add dimension to the next one and we'll put it all together. So I'm just going to pull this off real quick. They're talking to you. Are you looking at that?
Yeah, I see.
Don't forget to look up once you get working on your iPad.
Yeah, no, I'm
Redoing the logo.
Yeah.
This is the boring part. Sorry, you guys. But we gotta peel this stuff off. I'm a little bit concerned about this spot right here that's no longer connected there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just put a little bit of glue there. Not that I think it's really gonna do a whole lot, but it might help hold that together. We'll see. Oops, I missed one. All right, it looks like I got them all, but I'm a little bit afraid to lay this down because this is gonna stick like immediately and I won't be able to adjust if I lay it down incorrectly. So I'm just gonna add just a little bit of glue to this. I have to do it kind of fast because if it starts to dry, it will defeat the purpose on putting it on there. I forgot to tear that one off. Look at that. I saw it. I think I missed this one too. Nope, I got that one. I just missed the one in the corner. And this one. Ooh. Yeah, I got that one. All right, now here we go. Should be pretty easy to put on there, but just in case, because my biggest concern is keeping the edges of the card together. It doesn't really matter if the little areas don't line up as perfect as I want them to. Oh, they lined up great, actually. Look at that. That worked out great. That was perfect. Okay, I'm very happy about that. Hey, Rebecca. Hey, by the way, Rebecca, I finished your cuts. I finished your marker thingies. All right, we got to put some more of this stuff on there for the next one. Wait till you see this finished one. We're almost done. It's really, really cool. Those that are popping in now get to see the magic at the end. They missed all the process. Just going to cut this big piece so I can do these a little bit faster. Just put it on there and then trim it off a little bit quicker. This one will cut it at an angle so it stays where it's supposed to be. Dun, dun, dun. Yep, you can label your markers. Yep. They are ready. I wanted to try to bring them over to your area of town today, but I didn't get off work in time to do that. So, but I was gonna go headed to that area anyway, but it didn't work out for me. I ended up working later. And then I started feeling bad, so yeah, it just kind of all fell apart on me this afternoon. All right, almost there. I know this is a long process. I'm sorry you have to watch me do it all, but it's necessary for the amazingness of the end of this card, I think. I think it's just one extra awesome step that we can include on this. Ooh, this works perfectly this way. That's it. I think that's everything I need on the back of that. Then we'll just peel it off. Yep, I did a bunch of vinyl. I finished the sign. If you guys want to see it, let me know. But I did the wedding sign, the welcome sign for the wedding in a couple weeks. Finished that. Next, I have to work on the little hearts that say their names and turn them into magnets and put them in the little party favor thingy that we're making. Yeah, it's some cute little stuff I got. That's kind of all I got to do, so my future daughter-in-law was all over getting everything ready. She is amazing in preparing for everything. So she's already got it all lined out. All right. So now we're going to put this on. That dimension is going to pop. I'm hoping so, because I think it will really just make the process that we did with that stencil really, really show off the design. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. So we'll see. We're almost there. Okay. Here we go. Line it up. All we want to do is line it up with the edges of this paper. We just want to make sure that we get that lined up. That's the biggest part of this. And that glue lets us move it around just a little bit. Perfect. Then we put it together and look at that. I mean, that's even better. I mean, like, the whole thing is really cool, but on top of that, to have the dimension on there, I think is awesome. All right. Now, I chose a purple card base because I just thought the green didn't look quite right, and I don't know. The purple is what I thought would be the best. So that is the one that I chose. And then we're going to need a sentiment and, you know, all the things. Okay. So for some reason, I have this, like my card base is off just a tad. So I'm going to trim off that little extra piece because it drives me crazy. Does that happen to anyone else? I cut them the same. I score them the same. I usually do them all at the same time. And then randomly, some of them have a little lip on them. It drives me crazy. I bet we could have made this into like shaker stuff too. That would have been really cool. One step at a time, Sandy. I kind of want to tell myself, slow your roll, one step at a time. All right, I'm going to stand up so I can get this lined up so I don't mess it up. Because I really like this card. Sweet. There we go. I'm going to flip it over. The only thing that would ruin this is if I just put that on upside down. Nope. Yay! And I guess it wouldn't really matter. It looks kind of the same either way. So, all right, let's toss these so we have more space on the desk. And now let's get our little guy out here. Oh my gosh. Doesn't he look great on there? Okay, I'm excited. Can you tell? All right, we need a sentiment, and I think I have some pre-made ones that we might be able to use. Let's see, I made these from the stencils that we have in the shop. The double layer word stencils. I have quite a few of them. So I have some in purple, which I think would match really nice. This one says celebrate, so that might be the perfect one. This one says inspire. Then these are a little bit less bright. And we have smile, which would work, or hugs. Those I don't think are the right color. No pink. That's not the right color. So the purple, I think the purple. So I'm going to go with celebrate because, you know, he looks like he's celebrating. So I'm going to put this back in here. I just make these when I have a chance with those stencils, and then I have them already ready when I need them, and I don't have to worry about that. So we're going to use this sentiment. I don't want to cover up too much of the like really cool glitter, so I'm just going to do it like a little bit lower. Let's see, maybe I don't mind covering the purple. There we go. You'll still be able to see the top window. But I don't want to cover up the green because I don't have as much green on there as I have purple. So let's put this on. That was pretty easy to find that one. So we're going to lay that. I definitely want it to be all the way on the other side of this so it has something to hold on to. And bling it up. Celebrate. It's your on birthday. It's your very merry birthday to you. All right, here we go. I'm going to put this cutie pie on there. He was so fun to color. If you guys didn't color with me, you should do it when you get your stamp set. Just go watch the YouTube video because I'll be uploading this to YouTube. And do it because it's so much fun. So much fun. I love the colors. It's so pretty. I'm very happy with the colors. We need to do the white gel pen on his eyes real quick. Because we have to make sure his eyes look super good. There we go. That looks really cute. And then we can add just a little bit like on the top of his hat maybe. Kind of like on this little heart. You can put a little bit on the teapot. Just so it shows up a little. You can put some in the little coffee. It looked like he has some froth going on in that cup. Maybe a tad bit on the shoes. And right right here on the bow tie. And I think I like that. He is, there you are, Timothy. I thought you would pop in. I watched Timothy color him last night. He did so good. So I tried to switch it up a little bit so he had a little bit different colored hair, but he is fun. I have these dots from our shop, which are the blue, like the blue raspberry or whatever. They're kind of see-through, and I think they work perfect with this one. I really like them, although I'm flicking them everywhere. I have purple too, but I felt like there's enough purple on here, and I feel like the yellow might just look a little bit too sickly, so I'm going to put some of these blue ones, and I'm just gonna scatter them because I feel like it's a crazy card. There's craziness going everywhere. So we're gonna put that one up there. He is really fun to color. Thank you. I'm glad you like him. We used the stencil. We used the twisted checkerboard stencil to create the background. I did it at the beginning of the video, so if you want to know, if you want to see how that was done, you can always watch the replay. I'll be uploading it to YouTube, and it'll be active tomorrow. Oh, you guys, somebody should just say, hey, Sandy, get your picker tool, because you never do. You always struggle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need some littler ones. I need 2 more littler ones. I really like the teeny tiny ones. Can I see them? Where are they? Oh, there's one. It jumped right out at me. So I can put this one over here. Oh, I like that one right there. And then here's one. Nope, there's 2. I can put them back in. I feel like I'm just talking to myself. Here it is. We need one, like, I think over here. Maybe I want to switch this one. This one over here. This one is really shiny. And this one right there. That's good right there. I think that's good right there. So let's glue those down real quick. I love this tray, you guys. Love, love, love it. Okay, well, I'm going to keep this out. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to pick them up because this is so much faster. When you get these in the shop, they do not have sticky stuff on the back because we make them here. So you just have to glue them. But the Barely Art glue dries clear and invisible, so you can't see it anyway. So it works out really good. And I find that sometimes those glue dots don't stick very well anyway with the glue that's on them. So I prefer to glue my own, which I was generally doing anyway. There we go. One more and we're done. I like to press them with the soda press just to make sure that the glue has spread out all throughout underneath the little resin dot. And then that way I know it's got its hold without a bubble under it. And then I know it's gonna stick really good. I have been using these for a while. I haven't had any of them fall off, so I'm super happy with that. That is it, you guys. Wasn't that fun? All of that from one, look, all of that awesomeness in the background from one stencil. Yes, I love Barely Art glue. It is amazing. Amazing, amazing. Yes. Okay, let's look at it up close and personal. Look at that. And we use the cups for the background, and the dimension in that is really, I'm glad we popped it up. I think it really makes it better. And the glitter, look at that. that glitter really, really does a good job. Looks like I missed a little on a couple of them, but I still like it. I think it looks really good. I bet we could fill those in. But yes, I love it. And you open it up. I didn't stamp the back, but I should. There we go. So cute. So, so cute. This was so fun. Thank you for hanging out with me, you guys. I really appreciate it. I hope that you'll try to use your stencils in a different way like that, because it's so much fun. I mean, I was telling Dale I could outline them and color them all different colors with my Copics, but I just wanted to do something really unique. And this almost feels like motion is going, I think. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you'll try it with your new stamp sets. I'll be live on Tuesday of next week, so you have the weekend, and then next week I'll come back and we'll do something else. By the way, I wanted to let anyone who hasn't purchased this bundle, it is very low in stock, and I just want you to know that ahead of time so you don't get your feelings hurt if it's sold out when you get there. Also, anybody who was waiting on the space one, the paper is sold out. So the interstellar paper sold out today. So anyway, just as an FYI, I wanted you guys to know that so you would be aware. But I really appreciate your support and being here and watching the lives. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Good night.